joining us today. Do we have members online?
Oh, we had 20 during the service.
Are they still on for the meeting?
Well,
We're going to start in a minute
We just now
and a half.
Okay. All right.
But let me just, off the record,
Okay.
thank you all for being here. Some nice looking salads out there.
Okay, we need every person in the room for the count. You too, Chloe.
I think Michael.
I think most of us here are members.
Okay. Michael. Okay, yeah, he's in the sound room.
Melissa, she's right there. How you
Okay.
doing on that list, Melissa? You doing?
Hi there.
I think we need, 25 to be in compliance. I'm going to say 25.
Let's ask Melissa. What is the count on the sheet there? Do you know?
We're just counting to see if we have a quorum. Oh, is this on? No. Okay. Well, you can turn it on because I'm talking even though we haven't started. So we're just checking to see if we have a quorum before we actually start. So thank you for your patience. How many do we have online, Mike Carlin? 5 online. Are they members, Mike? Carland? Okay, who are they? Are Bonnie and John online? Which means we need 22. And we have 22 here.
Yeah, we may. How many do we have? Where's our secretary?
He just went to the restroom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I'm declaring a quorum. Okay, so I'm just, Al just stepped out. He's our secretary. I'm going to wait till he comes back in, and then we're going to start officially because we have a quorum. Yes. Just waiting for Al. He just went to.
Oh, I just heard the.
So we've got a couple new members here today, Melissa, who filled out forms but aren't going to be on the list. Yeah, including the Fishburns, including, I think Kathy might be on the list, might not. Including Elaine is going to fill out a membership form today, and I forget, remind me? Trevin. Okay, Al's here. So I am going to officially call the meeting to order at 12 noon. And thank you all for being here. We have a quorum. So we are declaring that we have a quorum. Thank you so much. It's so important that we're able to declare a quorum with you because you're here. So thank you for being here. I have invited Reverend Nancy, our wonderful assistant minister, to come up and do an opening treatment for us as we begin this afternoon's meeting.
Good afternoon. I invite each one of you to join me as we just quieten our minds for a moment and take a deep breath And just allow your shoulders to relax. And become focused into this moment. As we step into the realization that that divine presence of life, that which created all that there is what we express individually and as a group. And in this recognition, we know that the power, the love, the unity that we are experiencing is because of this truth. And as we move into this meeting this afternoon, we move into it with a heart that is open and receptive to a flow of experience in which we gain a expanded understanding of how this church operates. Embrace the idea that we have come this far, and in the recognition of how far we come, we open our minds and hearts to how far we want to go. And knowing this is knowing that this is a journey that we have chosen to unite in taking. And we rejoice in all the wonder and the progress and the expansion that we have experienced together as we open up everything for the infinite potential of where we may go. So in this experience, we embrace not only the center, but the community and all humankind, and actually all sentient beings, as we recognize that we are a light unto all those that we are embracing. And this is an opportunity for us to recognize our own great potential as we see all that has unfolded and developed, knowing that this is just the beginning. So with this recognition, this acceptance, and this understanding that the Spirit has brought us here to this moment, to this time, and to this place, because this is truly a divine opportunity in life. And we rejoice in it. And we announce it together as we say. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Nancy. So you have before you a packet of information which contains the minutes from our 2019 general membership meeting. We need, I don't know if is Al supposed to read those, Rev? He doesn't need to read the minutes from the 2019 meeting? He's going to highlight the minutes from 2019, and then we're going to entertain a motion to submit and accept those minutes as presented. Come on up, Al. Al's our secretary. Give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Highlights of the meeting from last year. We had an introduction. We had the introduction of the board members.
The microphone too.
Here I am. Okay.
We are recording this, right, Mike? Yes, good.
Hi, world. Let's see. The financial report last year was presented by Reverend Mike and Nikki Robbins. Income and expense report showed that church's giving was down back then. The balance sheet showed $98,618 in the bank. Noted staff on payroll were Reverend Mike Mcmorrow, Pastor Aaron Nell, back then was the center administrator, and Cheryl as the private contractor. Our assets were 101,624. Total assets of 454,000. We had fundraising of 22,348 that came from the new Thought-a-thon and the Write It Down class. Okay, last year the membership was reported at 120 with 5 new applications. The reports were given by Judy Dunkley, the lay pastoral ministry, Reverend Jessica Fish for the bereavement support, Rosalie Bate for junior church, Alyssa Moreno as tweens, Nikki Robbins teen church, Reverend Kathy for her animal kingship, and Suzanne Jensen for healing support. There are a lot of, it's 3 pages worth of report. So you all have it in front of you. Those online, I'm sure that you could bring it up electronically. And that's it for right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Al takes our minutes at all the board meetings and is a faithful and loyal supporter of the church. Thank you, Al. I now need a motion to I need it. Okay, all in favor? Any opposition? Any further discussion needed? If not, then we will submit the minutes as presented and move forward. Yes? All right. So I skipped over the introduction of the board members because I'm going to do that in my talk in a few minutes. So just ignore that. Now that we have accepted the minutes, we need to ratify the prior year's board's actions. So all the actions that the board took last year need to be ratified formally, and I guess that comes in the form of a motion. Yes, wait, time out.
We'd actually talked about moving that back and that.
After my talk?
After the financial, yeah. and
Okay,
your-
so we're going to hold off on that as well. And we're going to move to the financial report. You all have a copy of the financials. We really pride ourselves on being transparent. And we invite you to come to board meetings, not just the general annual membership meeting, but you can come to any board meeting you want and see how the church is spending the monies that you so generously donate. So in front of you are pages and pages of information on the financials. Nikki's going to come up. She's our treasurer. She's going to come up and summarize for you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm just going to point out several things on the financials because you do have it in the packet, and then Reverend Mike will go more in detail in his speech. But the most important thing I really want to point out is on the page with the steps to sustainability. We have a 12% increase from last year. So this is our conscious giving, our tithing. So yay. So what I do, because I can't get to church every single week, even though it feels like I'm here every single week, I do an automatic deduction, which comes off my credit card at the first of every month. I let Melissa know how much I want each month. Well, I do a set rate each month. And then if I make a little more that month, I'll throw a little check in the tithing basket. And that way, I make sure that I tithe each month, whether I'm here or not. And it's really important nowadays with what's going on for us, even though we can watch online, and we do have that PayPal option online to tithe. But it's something I don't even have to think about. And if I don't have to think about it and it just comes off, it's just my way to really support my spiritual center. I really love this center, and this feeds my soul. And so a good tithe is something that feeds your soul. So as your treasurer, I just really encourage you, because we are here to support each other during times like this. And so it's super, super important. I want to point out, are there any questions about that? I'm willing, and Melissa in the back there, she'll answer any questions about safety and everything and privacy of the credit card. So if you have any questions, please ask. I want to point out that our fixed assets are up from last year, and our current assets are up also from last year. So we did a great job with the parking lot. They'll go more into that. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, and it's great to see everyone here today. So Reverend Mike, is there anything else you wanted me to cover, or I will turn it over to you? And thank you for letting me be your treasurer.
Yeah, let's get it from Nikki. Thank you, Nikki.
So it was our intention to have Cheryl available, who is our bookkeeper, but I am available to answer questions if you have anything that you would like to bring up. But I will just give you generally the breakdown on our revenue. So this is the money that comes in. So our church giving is about 77% of what we take in. Our classes, which include the Wednesday morning Sangha, that's about 8%. This facilities use has been a nice lift. So when Erin was here, she really kind of pushed that and looked for ways to market that. But so last year, that was 3% of our income. I think if you look on the profit and loss for the revenue is the beginning of that, you'll see it. It's around $6,600, I think. Now, fundraising, you can see why we're always doing these fundraisers, right? So if you feel like that we go through times in the church where all we're doing is asking for money, the way that we don't do that is to increase this number, right? Because the fundraising is what we need to supplement the income of the church. Now, last year we did the parking lot, so I think you guys should give yourselves a big hand for that. That was a $13,000, like 12.5, I think, is what that cost. And that's not broken out here, but this gives you an idea of how, of where the money goes. What happened? Oh, let me try it. There we go. Okay. So, we, it'd be nice to bump this a little bit. Let's see, the music. This is actually going to go up this year because of AB 5, which is this subcontractor legislation that went into, it was actually designed to address the gig economy like Lyft and Uber drivers, but it also has now included musicians and so forth. So for what that means is for Ken then that he has just recently then been put on payroll. So going forward, he will now be an employee. So that adds cost to the music budget. It looks like it's going to add about 3% to the total budget. So that, and most of that is just going to the state, right? So, so you can continue. So you can do, along with your regular giving, some of you have been very generous in funding the music program for the extra musicians. So this year we have budgeted for 2 musicians per Sunday, but if the giving consciousness doesn't keep up with that, then we'll have to go back to every other Sunday, which is what we are doing for so many years, right? Now, the reason why we were able to do the musicians full-time is because we had a generous benefactor who wanted to see what our church would look like with full-time musicians. And so we were able to kind of stretch and massage that. We're going to be doing fundraising through the, Brenda is going to be doing a Beatles, what would you call it?
Celebration, I don't know.
A celebration of Beatles music, and that all the proceeds from that will go to the music fund. So when you see that, yeah, thank you. So when you see that, we're going to do 2 things. One, we're going to sell tickets, and then we're also going to pass the hat the way they used to do for musicians, right? So all the money will go to the music fund. So you guys have been great about Giving Tuesday. That's part of this fundraising. And the Spring Fling is part of the fundraising. And the Tahoe Drawing is part of the fundraising. All of these little things that we do to just raise a little extra cash outside of church giving. And we can't stress enough the importance of doing the automatic giving, because it's just human behavior that if you're not here, right, you can't give. But with automatic giving, you can do that. So even if it's, as Nikki was saying, she kind of has her base, whatever her base is, and then for income from unexpected sources, then she can tithe on top of that as well. And many of you, by the way, many of you do that already. So it's one of the signs in this modern era, it is one of the signs of a healthy spiritual community is the level of online participation of, I'm sorry, not online, but automatic giving. Okay, so looking at the profit and loss there, you can kind of see how it all breaks down where the money comes from. So this looks like ordinary income and expenses. So you can take a look at that. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. All right. Then the next page on that is gets into, let's see, did I do that right? Yeah, so at the bottom of the page, it gets into expenses. So PR, advertising, stuff like that. So you can see, again, just follow the money. All right? And don't take this copy because I just licked my fingers. All right? And then you can see, so we have credit card processing. So that's the most cost in that is when we use credit cards, there's a fee to that. And that is also part of our loan package that we have with Bank of the West. So we have a really great loan with Bank of the West. It's a 20-year fixed, which is unheard of, unusual in commercial lending. We have a 20-year fixed. It's 4.6%. And it's one of the things that allows us, maybe to you $200,000 looks like a boatload of money. But for running a church, you can't run a church any tighter than we do it, really, and pay everybody properly. So, and there's more that can be done. So Brenda, Terry Page, all the people, Jerry when he's here, Angela when she's here, these singers that you see singing are doing that as volunteers, right? So, yes. So if you want to say thank you sometime, you can take them to lunch, give them a Starbucks card, throw a 20 in their pocket, whatever, right? Just as a thank you. And you might give it back, but, some of them can use it. So, yeah. So, and then professional fees, so you can see that. So Reverend Nancy is our assistant minister, and she's our assistant minister, so she gets a mince. She's our assistant minister, so she gets a manse, which is a housing allowance. And then this other stuff is like retirement, and then utilities and stuff. A lot of it's the same stuff that you have in your own household. And this is your spiritual home. So all the expenses that you have, from the light bill to toilet paper to the water bill to the gardener and the pool guy, that would be me, I guess. But also for Melissa, which is a tremendous gift to our community to be able to have an administrator. So she keeps the flow going, and that's, part of what she's doing is also social media. So most of our visitors are coming in through social media now. When I ask people where they found us, most of them hold up their phones. So that is due to the efforts that were started by Aaron, and Melissa keeps turning that crank and putting her own stamp on it as well. So, are there any questions on the financials at all? Does the balance sheet balance this year? I forgot to check. I think it does, yeah. All right, so thank you for your continued generosity, and then we'll get into what we can do in the coming years together.
I just want to add, we do have a budget committee that gets together every year, which honestly, we don't do that much. Most of it is done by Reverend Mike. He does he puts hours and hours and hours. Reverend Nancy said to me, you can't let him keep doing that. We've got to step in and help him do it because he does most of it. So thank you, Reverend Mike, for all that you do. So if there's no questions on the financials, we'll move forward with our, well, I guess it says here membership report. So we just sort of purged our membership list because we hadn't done that in a while. We thought we had, but it turns out we hadn't. And the Rev and I went through the list the other night and just sort of noticed that there were people still on our membership list who had made their transition. And we are now at approximately 111 solid, vital, vibrant members in our community. And we picked up a few more today who thought maybe they were members, but actually were not, and now they're going to be. A couple of new members who have been, you know, look, if you come here regularly and you want to be a member, we have membership forms that are available for you today to fill out. And so we're at about right now 111. There's probably half dozen on there, Melissa, that have not, probably new members that have not gotten onto the list yet. So let's say we're right around 120. Our intention is to continue to grow that number and to, yes, please. There are no requirements to be a member. We ask that you are a conscious giver. There, you know, but
Well, you have to fill out an application.
yeah, you have to fill out an application, and after a very, very thorough background search. Yeah, no hazing, no, you know, FBI or CIA. Yes, and we will be having a discovery class. We ask that you attend, all the new members come to the discovery class, which is sort of an introductory class. That's going to be coming up shortly. But for the purposes of today, you're in. If you just filled out an application, you're in. You're good. So we are constantly talking about how to maintain a vibrant membership community. We have ideas that have not yet been implemented that we're going to continue to expand on. I feel like our membership drive, let's just say, for lack of a better word, can use some impetus behind it so that we continue to actively involve. One of our gentlemen here said this morning, you know, I didn't even know how. How do I become a member? So now he knows, and now he is. So we're continuing to emphasize some intention behind our membership drive. I would like to give our yes, I'm sorry, Kathy.
Do you ever have a membership meeting, a meeting of people who are particularly inclined to want to participate in that?
Yes, we have talked about that, and if you're interested in that, Kathy, look at Reverend Nancy and hook up with her, because we are forming. We're in the process of that happening, and Nancy's facilitating that. So she'll talk to you. Believe me, she'll talk to you. Believe you me. Now she's. So I'm going to move on to our ministries. I think we have, let me just say, we have lay pastoral care with Judy Dunkley, bereavement and healing support with Reverend Jessica. We have junior church, tween church, and teen church reports. We have animal kinship with Reverend Nancy, and we're going to give you an opportunity to hear briefly about each one of those ministries. We have a short video, I believe. Mike Carland is a couple of videos that Mike's going to show us right now with regards to bereavement and healing support groups, and also the practitioner. He's going to show that one also. That's okay. So you want to show those now, Mike Carland? Okay. Good. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Reverend Jessica, and I'm going to be reporting on the two outreach groups that we have here at the Centers for Spiritual Living Granada Hills, the Healing Support Group and the Bereavement Support Group. The Healing Support Group is for those people who are moving through issues that are causing them anxiety or panic, emotionally, physically, spiritually. The bereavement support group is supporting those people who have lost their loved ones, either in the distant past or recently. And both are in a confidential, safe, loving, sacred space. They both occur in the treatment room over near the lobby. And on the second Sunday is a healing support group. The fourth Sunday is a bereavement support group. Both are at 12:30. What's amazing about these two groups is that we have a tremendous outreach to the community at large. We get most of our people from Meetup who come, and they're not from our Centers for Spiritual Living. And what's wonderful is over the past year, we've had at least 50 people come, and probably at least a quarter of them turned over to be members here at the center. So it's a great service that we provide for the community, for the center, and I would hope that you feel comfortable coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. So Reverend Jessica facilitates our bereavement support. Suzanne Jensen, one of our practitioners, facilitates the healing support group. We have another video about the practitioner corps. Do you have that handy? You want to show that now? Okay, great.
Hi, I'm Reverend Jessica, and I'm also the head of the practitioner corps here at Centers for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. We are so blessed in our community this size to have over 15 practitioners. That includes our ministers. You know, we're practitioners first, then we're ministers. And each of those practitioners has a specific ministry that contributes to this center. I know you see us doing presiding on Sundays and High Watch. We give you the 1-minute miracles in the treatment room after service, but we're also available for practitioner sessions. We can also do those in the treatment room. It's an amazing resource for this center to just hold the consciousness, to know the truth and who of what we are. We're here to support you. Please contact any of the practitioner. Our phone numbers are on the back of the program. Contact us. Let us pray for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. So that every year, I think we rotate leaders for our practitioner corps. Right now, it's Jessica co-leading with Reverend Elizabeth. So we are here to pray with you and for you. Please utilize us, and thank you for all that you do. Did you have something you wanted to say, or are you just getting ready to? Okay, so we're also going to hear from our lay pastoral care person, who is Judy Dunkley. Please give her some love.
Ministry is our love ministry. It's our community ministry, where we reach out to you and support you during any illness. We keep your situation confidential if you prefer, but we want you to know when you're going through different things that you are not alone, that we are here for you. We have a special team that comprises of several members, including our practitioners, and we offer services such as visits, sometimes trips to doctors, sometimes grocery shopping. We send cards, emails, letters, whatever it takes to make you feel included, make you feel welcomed. If you have a need and would like to reach out, you can either contact me, or there's a form in our bulletin every Sunday. You can fill it out and it will get to me. Also, if you are interested in being a part of our team, you're more than welcome to come and join us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So you'll buy groceries? Oh.
Yeah, with your credit card, Rev.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a wonderful service that you might not be aware of that we offer here for our membership. So take advantage of that if you need it. Hopefully you won't need it. Let's have, I don't think Rosalie's here, is she? So Nancy, are you prepared to say something about junior church?
Sure.
Good.
I'll make it very brief. We always are available for young ones.
Hold on.
Oh. Shucks, do I have to?
Yes, you do.
Well, you can hear me. Oh, they're recording. So we have a junior church in the back. You wouldn't believe how many toys are there. And we are here every Sunday, Rosalie, Charlene, and myself, one or the other of us, or both of us, or and it's mostly children up to the age of 9, elementary school children. So bring your children, bring your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews. We're here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, for all that you do. You know, I brought my granddaughter here for service on our Christmas service. My granddaughter was here. You may remember seeing her. She wouldn't let go of me when I was trying to give a talk. And she ended up going back with, was it you or Rosalie that was here with her? Yeah, okay. So it's good. I trust them with my own grandchild. Let's hear from on the tweens.
Hi. As Nancy said, we're incredibly blessed to have a wonderful staff of people that provide wonderful services for youth, for the young children, the tweens that I am particularly responsible for, and also the teens, which Nikki does. We are very grateful to be able to be here and to work with the students that we have, but our numbers have been low. So if you know somebody, a family or a teen that could benefit from some spiritual mind training, we'd love to have you come. So please invite them.
Thank you, Lissa. And now we'll hear from Nikki on the teens.
Yes, we have a great teen program here. We've been getting some teens, and I talk a lot about social issues and things with school and things that are happening at home and just current events. So it's a great place for your teens to come and vent and talk and have no judgment and just actually learn some great principles and practices such as affirmations, meditation, visualizing that we use in our church. So bring your teens. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki, for all that you do. Nikki also does the homeless bags every year with the teens who decorate the bags, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful program. So thank you for that. Reverend Kathy is going to talk to us about animal kinship. Reverend Kathy, over here.
Sleeping on the job.
Okay, I'm head of the Animal Kinship Ministry. And every month, usually the third Sunday, we didn't have one today, where in the treatment room we meet at 1 o'clock. If you love animals and you want to share pictures, stories, a way to connect with other animal people, I also am available. I do pet blessings, memorials. I provide bereavement support. About a few months ago, another thing that I do is if somebody's making the decision to have to euthanize their animal, I will go with them to the vet or to their house if the vet's coming to the house, where they have to make that painful decision and let their animal go. I got a really nice thank you letter from somebody recently where I assisted in that. You know, our animals really play an important part of our life. And when they go, and their lifespan is so much shorter, it really hurts. And I'm there to provide that bereavement support. There are a lot of health benefits to having animals. A couple of weeks ago, I was doing some research about how therapeutic they can be. And I even read, it was on the Center for Disease Control website, you probably heard of that organization. They even said how animals can be therapeutic, not only because if people have dogs, they walk them, so that's a health benefit, but also they provide that companionship that can be so therapeutic and healing. So all you animal lovers, I invite you to the Animal Kinship meeting the third Sunday. Also, I do a very informal animal memorial at Calabasas Pet Cemetery in the afternoon on the last Saturday of the month. So thank you.
Did you notice she's wearing her animal print top? I like that, Kathy. That's nice. Thank you so much for all that you do, and I know that's your passion, and your passion comes through in all that you do. Ninoska is going to join us for a moment.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Ninoska, and I'm a Spanish-speaking practitioner. So Spanish ministry shows up in many different ways. Just want to make myself available should you ever have a need to do something in Spanish. I'm here available. Spanish ministry is also showing up, starting a few months ago, maybe a month ago, 2 months, I lost track, through teaching in Spanish. I began to teach a Spanish class here at the center, making the ideas of science of mind available through Spanish for those who are interested and do not speak the language. I thought it was really important to create a space for our center and welcome communities that speak another language. And I thought it was very creative to come up with the idea of teaching the Spanish for those who are interested, so we know how to greet and welcome people should they show up. So this is how Spanish ministry is unfolding at this time, and needless to say, this is a wonderful experience that I'm truly, truly enjoying with the students. Gracias.
Thank you. So, thank you, Ninoska. The other thing you need to know about Ninoska, she's also on the Centers for Spiritual Living International Practitioner Council as well.
Nice.
So, she was given a very prominent speaking role at our last conference, and it was really thrilling to see you up there doing your thing. And so, I personally am delighted to have you here, and I know that this is going to be an unfolding part of our ministry going forward. So, yes.
Thanks, Ninoska. Are you still in halfway through the Spanish class, or 3 more weeks? So anybody in the class with Ninoska? Anybody here taking her class? Because I know you had a lot of people in the class. Okay, well, thank you for all that you're doing.
Started with a lot.
Thank you so much. So if it's okay with you, Reverend Mike, I'm going to jump out of order a little bit. Is that okay?
You're the
because as
press.
long as we're having committee reports, I wonder if Melissa wanted to say anything about marketing quickly.
Yeah.
Come on up. This is our administrative assistant, our office manager, our administrator, Melissa Straub. Please welcome her.
Okay, so I have good news and bad news on social media. So we're down on followers, but we're up in engagement, which means there's more interaction, which is what we want. So I want to encourage everyone to keep engaging, like and comment on posts. And if we're commenting more and interacting more through comments, the posts get seen more. They're more relevant in the timeline. So it's important to do that. So if you see something you like or have a thought on, go ahead and leave a comment, like it, all of it. So any news or any new events will be posted on all platforms. So sorry. I'm short. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So make sure you're following us on all of those platforms. Also, Meetup. Reverend Jessica mentioned Meetup, and it's really important. We're getting a lot of new people. Any new classes, any special events are posted there, and you can RSVP. And the important thing to remember is to check in, because then we're really seeing who's coming to those classes and what we need to do to change anything that isn't working. And then the other thing is constant contact. So we have a lot of subscribers, but not a lot of people who open the newsletter. So we have about a 25% open rate. So last year there were 27,574 sends, only 6,677 opens. So the newsletter, it's changing constantly. So if you've seen it one week, it doesn't mean it's the same the next week. So make sure you're checking it, you're opening it, because it's a really good way to stay informed. Okay? You're welcome.
Melissa's here every day, 9 to 1?
Yes,
Monday through Friday, 9 to 1. So if you call, she feeds the cat. If you call, she's probably the one who likely answers the phone. Thank you for all that you're doing, Melissa. I want to invite Marcy to say a few words about fundraising, if that's okay, Marcy. You could come up. Come on. Marcy Cowan is one of our board members. She tackles Spring Fling every year. Please welcome her. And
hi, everyone. Yeah, well, this is our annual Spring Fling, and it's one of our fun events for raising donations to the center. So, you know, we encourage all of you to be part of that, and you know, we're going on with it. So, and it's our annual event. So it's going to be on April the 25th, as you saw, you may have seen up on the board. And it's going to be from 5. We have it scheduled from 4 to 9. Now that doesn't mean that that we're going to be dancing for 5 hours. Okay, we have lots and lots of things to do to keep you entertained, and it does have a country western theme, but that doesn't mean that all for 4 hours you're going to hear country western music. Okay, I've gotten some people come up to me and say, how can you do that for 5 hours? No, we're not going to do that for 5 hours. But it is the theme, so it's a casual event. You know, dress however you want. It's okay. You can come in, you know, in your shorts, and you can come in your jeans, and you can come however you want to come. But it's a very casual event, and we've made it that way so that we can kind of like reduce the cost for all of you. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be catered with some wonderful a wonderful buffet, and that'll be served to you. So join us for a good event. It's going to be relaxed. We will have, our tickets will be $75 per person. And let's see what else, if I didn't have my glasses on today. But anyway, the dancing and the music will be of all different, oh, thanks, Rev. The dancing and the music, okay, I want to just explain a little bit about the music. It's not, like I said, going to be all country western. We'll have music to have our barbecue by. We'll also have music throughout the evening of different decades. The 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. Okay, so just so that you know, it's not going to just be hee-haw. But we'll have fun, and we always do, and it's actually just 3 blocks down the street on Zelza. At the First Presbyterian Church has a hall behind the church that's called Lee Hall, and that's separate, and it will be held at that location. So we'll have beverages, and so the parking lot is a huge parking lot. There's no cost for parking like it has been in the past. So it's going to be a really fun event. And just with a show of hands, how many of you are planning on attending this event? All right. So we'll have raffle 50-50. We'll also have our raffle of prizes, which we kind of call an auction. Okay, but that's what it's going to be. And Kathy, yes, Kathy, stand for us. Yeah, and take the mic so we can record it.
Okay. Thank you. Sort of new, but I find myself in charge of this silent auction raffle event that happens at the Spring Fling. So I just want you all to know that I have all your emails, and I'll be sending out to everybody a donation type of letter and a donation form that you can use to approach anybody who you patronize, your restaurants, your florists, your dry cleaners, your car places. You'd be surprised how many people will donate to a raffle, especially when we acknowledge their generosity on all the materials that we use for the event, plus we stream it courtesy of Tomorrow, who is back here. And if anybody didn't know, that's her name.
Yeah,
that's not courtesy of Tomorrow, like tomorrow. So I just want you to, anything that you have, or anything, if you yourself have a service that you offer, you know, in the course of your job or whatever, we'll take certificates for that as well, you know, get a free hour of consultation for something or another. So I'll be here on Sundays. Bring whatever you have, whatever you're able to get on a Sunday between now and April 13th. Kind of short notice, but, you know, it is what it is. So we'll do the best we can, and it should be fun.
All
Thank you, Kathy. And Kathy will be making up the certificates as well. So some of you have asked, do I have to make the certificates up? You don't have to. Just tell us what your service is, and we will do that service for you. So thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you. A lot of work goes into this spring fling, so I just want to let Marcy know how much we appreciate her, and Kathy, who stepped in to help out in such a wonderful way. I'm going to invite Margie Robbins up to the platform here to talk a little bit about sacred service, also known as Seva. I always thought it was Siva, but apparently it's Seva.
Hi, everyone. I'm Margie Robbins, and I am the SEVA coordinator here at the center. And first of all, I want to just say thank you to all of those that have given the gift of food, snacks for our after morning service. And yes, thank you. And I also want to encourage those that have not yet made any type of a commitment. Just once a month, bakery, cheese and crackers, dip, whatever. Let me know, and I'd love to add you in here. Even if it's being a name on the side, saying that you are available for something if somebody says they can't make it. We would love to have just your name on that. There's a couple of other things that are really wonderful here. A way to become socially involved with this center, with the practitioners here and such, is being a greeter at the door. People coming in, and new people especially, don't know anyone. If a greeter is there and introduce them to others and make them feel right at home, this is a family for you all. And also too, the ushers. We would love to have someone that would like to be an usher. And an usher isn't just coming up with collecting the money and standing here. Ushers are those at the door. And what we would like to do is have someone that would be ahead of all that, really. And the usher will not only greet people coming once they come through the door, is they will also, if the service has started, rather than somebody standing back at the door and trying to search out a seat, the usher will be aware of what seats are available and immediately give that person, direct them to a place to sit. So if anybody wants to participate in any committee and you don't know who to contact me, and I'd be more than happy to direct you to the proper person. And also one thing I would like to add to Marcy's report is that the tickets are $75, but if you wish to sit at Reverend Mike's table, you may, but it's $100. Thank you.
Reverend Mike gets the big bucks. So thank you, Margie, for all that you do. And one of the things she did not mention is cleanup. The church needs to be closed up. Well, no, we have people who close it. Thank you, Al and Lissa. But it needs to be cleaned up every Sunday because people do bring food and then they go home. So we do need people to stick around and help clean up as well. And I know that's not a very glamorous or desirable task for some people, but it can be very zen. So if you're interested in that, just jump on in and help out. So there's a couple of items that I skipped over, including introduction of the board and ratification of the prior year's board's actions. But I felt like I was going to talk about those things and the voting on the slate that we're going to talk about also. But I thought I would address most of those things in my talk. So let me get my pages and pages of notes. No, just kidding. Let me get my talk out and see if we can't address most of those things in my talk. First of all, Let me thank you all for being here. We've been emphasizing the importance of this meeting. We made a quorum. We do have a vote that's going to take place in a few minutes, and it's important that you're here. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for sticking around. There is some victuals after we're done, too. We can join in fellowship and community and break bread together with our gloves on. And I also want to thank Reverend Mike for making the conscious decision to stay open today and to stay steadfast in consciousness, and for all that you do here. I'm so grateful to you, and it's an honor to serve as your board president, and I mean that. I really do mean that. I am honored and flattered that you trust me enough to represent the Board of Trustees as your president. I've been here in this spiritual community for 9 years now. I stumbled upon this place. I didn't realize that United Church of Religious Science and Religious Science International had merged to rename themselves the Centers for Spiritual Living. That happened when I was taking a break between community that I used to be involved in and then finding us here. But I was going to lunch one day with a friend traveling down Chatsworth, and I said, wait a minute, Center for Spiritual Living, what is that? And then I came in on a Wednesday night. I realized it was the science of mind, and I haven't left. And that was right around 9 years ago. I think it was around Easter time, 2011. Shortly after I arrived here, I received my mom passed. I came in March or April. My mom passed in September of that year. In December of that year, I received a diagnosis, pretty serious, the C diagnosis. And then maybe a year later, my dad passed. So I guess I tell you all that to just emphasize how supported I felt here in this community by all of you. And I'm inviting you to let us support you in that way if the need arises. So when I tell you how grateful I am to be here, I really do mean it. I've been the board president since August 2017, when I was on the board a little bit before that, but not as the president. And then Barbara Harrison, if any of you here remember Barbara, was our wonderful board president, and they were big shoes to fill. And I'm not sure that I've actually filled them entirely, because she's wonderful. But I took her place when she moved to, did she go to Texas, I think, right? She moved to Texas, and I took over as the board president in August. So I want to introduce our current board. If you're here, please just stand up. Of course, Reverend Mike, Reverend Nancy, who I think is cooking or something maybe in the kitchen. Al Moreno is our wonderful secretary. Nikki Robbins is our treasurer. Bonnie Reese is not here, but she's going to be on the slate for re-election today. She's watching. Hi, Bonnie. She finished her first 3-year term and is up to be re-elected for her second 3-year term today. Marcy Cowan, who you met, is our wonderful board member. We have Vinu. She's our vice president on the board since she was voted in March 2019. Marty Laff, who is also not here, was voted in March 2019. Dino is here. He is our most recent adjunct to the board, but he will be stepping in if you vote him in, which I recommend you do, and I recommend you vote me in again too. Just kidding. Dino is going to be stepping in to fill the wonderful shoes of Marge Leister, who has finished her. Lisa, I beg your pardon. All right. You can fire me. You're still on the board. You can fire me. Marge, no, actually, right now you're no longer officially on the board. But please stand up and let us love you for your wonderful, wonderful 6 6 solid years of service on the board, probably longer than that if you filled somebody's shoes. You know how sometimes you come in or you're actually elected, but she's just completing, as of today, her second 3-year term of tireless service, and we so appreciate you. You know, Marge is quiet but powerful, and when she spoke, we listened. And as a result of that, I'm inviting her to continue coming to the meetings. You just won't be an official board member or have a vote, but we'd love to still have your consciousness in our meetings. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah.
All right.
It's about time I got my own space.
Yes.
So it's been a privilege and an honor to serve on the board, and I have been coming here for a long time. I lost track of how many years, but when you're 93, it's pretty darn good to keep busy and still be effective and able to, you know, retain what's going on. So I'm happy to say that you too, when you're up in the years, can do that and keep coming. And I hope to see you all for several more years.
Yes, we hope so too, Marge. Thank you so much for your service. Yes. I also want to acknowledge the Mrs., Reverend Mike's wife, Stephanie, who is not officially a board member because we had some concerns about how it would look for our minister's wife to be involved in money-making decisions. So she didn't want to be a board member officially, but she comes to all the board meetings, and because of her profession, outside of being the Reverend's wife, she's a board, how do you call it? She's a money manager. You know, she manages people's money, so she really contributes a lot when it comes to the financials. So thank you, Stephanie. So if you want to just give our wonderful board, listen, we have a cohesive board. We don't argue. We get things done. Sometimes we get them done. If I have it my way, we get them done quickly. We are responsible with the monies that you contribute. And it's right now it's a really cohesive board. So when it comes time to do the voting, you know, just consider that we are a united, cohesive, conscientious board with honesty and integrity as our middle names, if you will. I also want to acknowledge all our wonderful practitioners and ministers. As Jessica said, there's 17. For a church this size, 17 practitioners and ministers is powerful. So we've got Reverend Nancy, Reverend Mike, Reverend Jessica, Reverend Kathy, Reverend Jeannie Hoffman, Reverend Elizabeth Schneider, Reverend Maureen Hoyt is our, how do you call it? Emeritus practitioner. Minister. Suzanne Jensen, Kitty Catherine Hack, Nikki Robbins, Wayne McDonald, Judy Dunkley, Rosalie Bate, Nanoska, Duenas, Sherry Gideons as a remote practitioner, and Agneta Byland as a remote practitioner, and we're happy to be here to serve you. It's an honor to be a member and a practitioner and your board. What? Phil is a practitioner, but he's not, no. His license is, we're working on it, but he's.
I've been a practitioner for 13 years.
And he's going to be joining us as soon as he gets his license in order. So, I'm sorry? Did you count yourself? And myself, right. I'm a practitioner too. Thank you. Yay, me. Just kidding. So I want to just briefly let you know what the board and the church, I kind of combine the two, what the board and the church have done this year. First, let me just say, you guys stepped up to the plate where that parking lot was concerned. I'm telling you, we a couple of years ago we had the Get Her Done Fund to raise some money to remortgage, refinance, and that you guys came through with flying colors. And this year we had the parking lot, and it was an $11,500, $12,000 budget item that we were going to eat. But you guys came through and funded the whole thing, so kudos to you. It was one of the big accomplishments this year was that parking lot. But we also had wonderful accredited and non-accredited classes to offer you, including the Science of Mind classes, of course. We had Goldsmith presenting. We had Joseph Campbell. We had the 4T Prosperity class. Nikki brought in the Freedom to Choose prison ministry for a presentation to us. We've had concerts, movie nights, Spanish class, thank you, Ninoska. We had a new program called Flourish on the third Wednesday of every month where we're being ecologically conscious and bringing members of the community in on Wednesday nights. Thank you, Milena, to talk about ways that we can be more sensitive and better citizens of our environment. We have a new administrator, Melissa, who's been on board, I think, since June. Is that right? So we sanctioned that. We had a drum circle this year. We have Kirtan Kara. We have a new program called Lunch and Learn with Vinu and Milena bringing ideas for fellowship and consciousness-raising workshops, lunch and learn. We did the parking lot, as I mentioned. We had Spring Fling last year, which raised how much, Marcy? We raised around $3,000 for the church last year with the Spring Fling. This year, a few months ago, we started a choir. We inserted a handrail to help us get up and down from the podium. Reverend Mike and Mike Carlin, thank you for the countless numbers of repairs that have been done around here that you don't even know about. I don't even know about. But they're, thanklessly, wait, I just got the red light. What does that mean? My time's up? Oh, that was a thumbs up. Okay. Lots of repairs that they do that we don't even see. We have now a 3D video online of the sanctuary and the church for promotional purposes. I don't know if you've checked that out, but you could go online and see a 3D video of the church. We have about 8 new members this year and are continuously pushing for a greater membership drive. We raised about $6,000 thanks to your contributions with the new Thought-a-thon this year. We had a youth fair, a fantastic youth fair, thank you, Tinkerbell, called Mythia, where we had angels and fairies, and it was really fun. We sanctioned the Rev's contract this year. We had a wonderful Dia de los Muertos event here. Nikki facilitated the donation bags at Christmas time. We balanced the budget, thanks to Reverend Mike, really, mostly. And we raised about $2,000 last year in the Tahoe drawing. I don't know how much, Nancy, do we have a number yet this year for the Tahoe drawing number? How much money we don't know yet. We sanctioned Christmas bonuses for all our wonderful volunteers and musicians and everybody who got a Christmas bonus. This month, I think it was just in the last month, Rev started the Power of 8, where we're in groups of 8 praying for each other. We had memorials here and celebrations of life. We have continued to be involved in community outreach via the North Valley Caring Center, which we involve ourselves with at Christmas time, and the Friends of the LA River cleanup that we've been doing for several years, that Stephanie sometimes is pretty involved in that, which has been postponed this year because of circumstances. you generously give every month to the Cal State University of Northridge Women's Resource Center in the way of food and hygiene products. So we have done a lot this year, not just your board, but you have done a lot to contribute to the community, to support one another, to shift and lift, to engage in fellowship. And let's just give ourselves a round of applause for all that we do as spiritual community. I mentioned in my talk, second service, I got a text from Reverend Jessica reminding me of this quote from Michael Beckwith over at Agape, who said, don't tell me, I have it here somewhere. Spiritual community creates immunity from lower frequencies of life. So when we're in spiritual community, we have immunity from the coronavirus. We have immunity from lack and limitation. We have immunity from fear, doubt, and worry. And that's what we get to support each other in through spiritual community. And I'm grateful to be a part of this community and grateful for the programs that we offer that you just heard about. Judy and the lay pastoral care, Kathy and the animal kinship ministry, Rosalie and Lissa and Nikki and the teen church, and Jessica through bereavement support, and Suzanne Jensen and the healing support, and Ninoska and our Spanish-speaking outreach. So there's a lot to offer here. We have a lot to offer, and we know that you are going to continue to contribute to those offerings, and we are going to continue to support you in every way that we can. I want to thank, just quickly, everybody who does service here in the community, including Emily and David who come. They're not here, but I think they're online. Hi, Emily. Hi, David. They come every Sunday early to set up. David sets up the table and chairs outside. Emily makes the coffee and sets up food. Somebody comes in every week to provide beautiful flowers. I know Rosalie's been involved in that. I don't know who else does it, but whoever else does it, thank you. You're pointing to someone, and I don't know who.
Martha and Nancy.
Martha, Nancy, thank you for the flowers. We have people who stay late to clean up. They come early to set up. I know Al is here, probably the last man standing every Sunday, putting away tables with Lissa, of course, by his side, putting away tables and making sure that everything's put away and in order. We've got ushers and greeters. John, who's been a longtime member, John Sparks. Miss Rita in the back is a greeter, and we've got Terry Mosley. Is that her, Terry Mosley? Is that her name? Mostman. Terry Mostman, who's a early morning greeter, and Chloe, of course, who greets ushers almost every week. Margie for doing Seva. We have people who stay and count the money, and we've got the sound booth, of course. Mike Carlin and the Duffys, Michael and Mcmorrow Duffy, thank you so much for being here every week. Sorry? Evan, first service, comes in. Our wonderful teachers, Lissa, Rosalie, Nancy, Nikki, thank you for taking good care of our Charlene. Thank you so much for being here to take good care of our kids. So if I've skipped anyone, please forgive me. I did the best I could in remembering all the wonderful people who come here week after week after week and help keep these doors open and do the stuff behind the scenes that not always people want to do. Some of it isn't glamorous, but thank you for all that you do and for being here. I want to say also how grateful I am for your givingness. As Reverend Mike touched upon, giving is up a little bit this year, and thank you for that. I don't want to discourage you from giving because it's, giving is up, so I don't have to give as much. No, we still, listen, we pay the lights, and we pay the rev, and we pay the mortgage. And as he said, it's not, we keep a pretty tight rein on the monies here. that you so generously give. So please know that we appreciate every penny that you throw into the basket, and thank you that giving is up. I want you to know that we are moving towards making sure our music ministry is 100% funded. Who likes the music here? I think we all enjoy the music. We have some super professional, fantastic musicians who join us on Sundays, and we want to make sure that we can continue to pay them. So we're having a concert. Brenda did this Beatles concert, Beatles retrospective, maybe we could call it, at Vitello's a couple years ago, and it's really great. So when you see that we start to promote that, please plan on coming and showing up. It is going to be a fundraiser, but we want to make sure, and our drive is going to be towards making sure that we can keep our music ministry funded, because as Reverend Mike talked about, Ken is now on payroll, and that's increased the cost of the music director about, I think you said, by 18%. Yeah, I think that's what you told me. So that's a big chunk of change, and that's thanks to this AB5. Right. Yeah, AB5. So instead of making our music director responsible for the new taxes and stuff that he would have to pay, we increased his salary so that we could help him with that and not make him completely responsible. And that added to the budget, right? So please join us in knowing that our music ministry is going to be completely funded, and that we continue to give ever so generously towards this wonderful place that we call our spiritual home. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'm just delighted to be able to stand before you as your board president. So, yes. Do we need to ratify? So that was going to be my next thought after we just thanked each other and congratulated each other for a wonderful year. Thank you so much. And then I do need a motion now to ratify the board's actions for last year.
I make a motion that we ratify the actions of the board last year.
I need a second. Nancy Schreiber has seconded. And all in favor of that happening? And any opposition? Anybody want to challenge what we did last year? Or unratify?
Ask the YouTube commenters if they have any.
So YouTube, do you, if anybody's online watching still, and you would like to comment on ratifying the board's actions for last year, do we see any objections?
Give them a few seconds.
I am, but that's 3 right there.
So let's move into the slide wall.
So here's the thing. We have a couple of board members who are up for re-election to begin their second 3-year term, because the board stays intact for board members do 3-year terms, and they get to do 2 consecutive 3-year terms. Okay, so a couple of our board members are up for their second 3-year term, including myself. So I will be on the slate. Nikki will be on the slate. Raise your hand so everybody sees your beautifulness. Bonnie Reese, who is not here today, will be on the slate for her second 3-year term. And Dino, raise your hand, Dino. Everybody look behind you. Dino is on the slate to come in for his first 3-year term, taking Marge Leister's place. Leister. Leiser. You say Leiser, I say Leiser. You say potato, I say potato. So there is a statement that I'm going to make. Oh, we've got Barbara Harrison. Hi, Barbara. Yay! And Milena is online. Hi, Milena. Marty Laff, who is another one of our board members, is online. Sherry Gideons is one of our remote practitioners living in Arizona. She's online. Hi, Sherry. Maureen Hoyt, Reverend Maureen, is online. Hey, Maureen. Jeannie Starrett is texting. And Elizabeth Schneider, I guess, is online. So say hello to everybody. Hi.
And we have Bonnie as well.
And Bonnie as well, Bonnie Reese. So there's a statement that I'm going to make that I have to have Rev come up and whisper in my ear because I forgot what it is. So Rev, could you come here for 1 second? About the election. And that statement, can you?
You can move as the president to accept the board by acclamation.
Okay. So, so here's what that means. If nobody has any objection to the board continuing as it is, I can move that by acclamation. In other words, no objection, nobody.
Instead of writing it, we say yes.
Well, I suppose so.
Yes.
Maureen's online. She's going to probably correct me if I'm wrong because she's good at that. So, Maureen, if you're listening, I think I'm doing this correctly.
We don't have to write it.
No, I don't think so.
I know, so we just say it.
Yes. So, do I need a motion for that to happen, Rev?
No, you just, well.
So,
Yes, I will, yes, accept the.
okay. So,
Judy Dunkley makes the motion.
so Judy Dunkley is moving that the board, through acclamation and no that the slate be accepted as presented. That's the motion.
Yes. And I second it, or?
So Judy Dunkley moved and Reverend Jessica seconded.
All in favor?
And I all in favor? Any opposition? Okay, so I'm getting the hold on from tomorrow. Okay, just checking to make sure that. Sorry, checking YouTube because we have people that are tuned in. So the suspense, isn't this just, wow, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat.
Milena says in favor. Dr. Maureen Hoyt says vote by acclamation. Very good motion by Judy.
Okay, great. Okay, so all in favor? Okay, any opposition? Okay, so then let the minutes show that the current board is going to stay put with the addition of Dino filling in Marge's place. And thank you for your trust and your faith in the current board. We are really honored to be your fearless board of trustees. I would say fearless leaders, but that's him. So let me invite Reverend Mike up to give you a State of the Union address, and then we're going to eat after he closes us out in prayer. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. So let's give it up for Andrea. Nicely done. Am I on? Yes, there I am. So first, I know that one household has friends coming over at 2. Are you still okay? If I sit down within 10 minutes? Yeah, okay. All right. So our center is a demonstration of consciousness. That we have come together really in kind of a metaphysical contract that we make with each other when we come together in membership. That we set an intention for creating a place where we can meet and gather, where we can share our ideas confidently with each other. And I think there's a tendency sometimes to take that for granted. So particularly in today's world, when you can go on television and watch Oprah on Sunday mornings now, right? And even to live stream, many churches are live streaming now, right? Which is great. That's a good thing. It's good for us, this live streaming idea. We had 20 people live streaming this morning. That's way up. And more than that, we had a lot of activity on the chat. So we've been wanting to build this online presence as we've been going along. And so in this weird kind of way, we're getting this benefit from this crazy corona thing, right? And to that end, I think it becomes even more important to understand how important spiritual community is. So we had a visitor today who was over from Simi Valley because their sanctuary seats 250, and so by the governor's decree, they could not meet. So imagine if we were told you cannot meet in a time like this. Right? And we're able to do that because back in the 70s, a group of people got together and bought this place. Right? So our building costs with the mortgage and insurance and taxes, all the things that you have to pay for your own home, we pay here, but those costs are well under $3,000 a month. And this space, if we were renting it, would be about $7,500. And that's not unusual for most spiritual communities. So, I jokingly say that the most prosperous person in most of our churches is the landlord, right? And it's a burden on many centers that we do not have. And so what that means is that I am paid a living salary, which I am very grateful for. And I have a living salary that has retirement in it, which means that when it's time for me to go, I can go. That's not always the case. That sometimes ministers cannot afford to retire because they need the income. But because of you, that is not going to be my case. Because of your consciousness. Your consciousness that whoever our spiritual director is, a consciousness that wants that person to be supported the way you would be supported in your own life. Right? That's a big deal. To have an administrator who does all the things that I have no clue as to how to do and does them well. Because any of you who are in the power of 8 now know what happens if I'm in charge of the email list. Yeah, that's me. So imagine if that was happening with all of our church communications, right? But so now we're doing this thing called the power of, so let me just, before I get off of that. So this is where we've come so far. So we've built this on the shoulders of those who came before us. And now it's time for us to plant the trees for a forest that we may not see with our continued giving. Now, one of the things that we're going to speak to today through Marty Laff was our legacy giving program. And one of the things that's often asked when it comes to legacy giving is, number one, what is it? Legacy giving is making an accommodation for your spiritual community through your will or trust. And so she was going to explain how to do that, and that's what that incomplete tree is out front. But you may have noticed the stock market was kind of a crazy these last 2 weeks, and this was the time that Marty had to prep for this. And she's a stockbroker, so guess what she's been doing this week? right? So we're going to have to make time for her to do a presentation around that. But here's the question that I have been asking myself. You know, what's a big idea? What is my big vision for this spiritual community, right? And I really haven't had a good answer for that. Why would someone want to give, why would someone want to leave $1 million to our center, right? Now, we all love our center, but why would you want to leave $1 million? It's got to be more than just so we don't have to sweat the mortgage. Yes? That's what I think. Am I right? Yeah. So I've had this idea, as you know, I grew up in the Air Force, and in the Air Force, in the military, they have chapels. And every denomination uses the same chapel. Every denomination uses the same chapel. So the Catholics finish their service, the chapel aides come in, they pull on the cord, and the crucifix moves behind the curtain, and the Protestant cross comes out into the center, right? And then for Jewish services, they just close the curtain, right? So all the different Protestant traditions, the Catholics, the Jewish folks, I imagine Islam now have a presence, all in one building. So I've been considering this thing about this idea of how to build an interfaith community where communities truly can come together as one thing. So then I came up with this idea, and I'm just planting the seeds with you today, right? That we set the intention to create an interfaith chapel community where we can share the cost of the tent with other faith communities. Now, what this would mean, of course, is that there would be sacred covenants. That if it's a Jewish community, it'd be a pretty liberal one. If it was a Christian community, it'd be a pretty liberal one. And I think that within all of these different denominations, there are groups of people who are opening up to the idea of the universality behind all religious thought and experience that we are experiencing as a particular culture in a denomination. And that I'm certain that there are 3 or 4 communities out there that are 200 or 300 strong, that if they came together with 3 or 4 other communities, could easily afford a small campus with a church that would seat maybe 300, with classrooms for youth and a little playground and adequate parking. And then we would call it something like a mosaic center for interfaith community, or something like this. So you would have the potential of a small Christian community as the religious scientists are coming out. The Christian community would be moving in and they'd be saying hello, or the Christian community would be coming in, going in as the Jewish community is coming out on a Friday night or a Saturday. So think about that for a moment. It's an idea that's come to me just recently, and I think it's a pretty powerful one, because I think the future of churches are going to have a place to come and meet is going to become even more important, not less. I don't buy into this stuff that we're all going to go and retreat online to do church. Does that make any sense to you? We have to come together as community, and we have to find ways to be able to do that together, not in some hazard way. Thank you. Half measures. No half measures. Thank you. Right? But in a way that's conscious and in a way that truly has the potential to build real understanding between denominations for the love of Spirit expressing through all of it. So there's a little big vision for you. I'll let you stick that one in your pipe and smoke it for a few days. And so I'll be looking forward to your interest on that. The other thing is about these Power of 8. I'm really excited about the the participation and the possibility for those of you. Some of your groups have been very active. If you haven't been so far, I encourage you. It's been 3 weeks now. You all know who you are. So, get on there and chat and lift each other up. And it's become even more important now as we move into this, the uncertainty of what's going to be unfolding in the next 2 or 3 weeks. That a Power of 8 group is going to be a very powerful prayer group. And you will see, it will lift you. It will lift you and give you encouragement and power to get out there and deal with whatever we need to deal with. So that's really all I wanted to share with you today, because the rest of the stuff you get, every Sunday, right? So let's just, shall we do a little closing prayer? Yes. And then we'll get out of here. And so here we go. Just taking a deep conscious breath. What? Oh, the raffle. Well, we can do this when we eat. Well, you know what? I'll just do it now. Come on up here, Prez. Why not do it? Oh, maybe we should do the treatment before we pull the ticket.
I was just going to say, would you all be suspicious if I pulled my own?
Or mine.
Andrea Rat? No, just kidding. It's Valerie, who's, I don't see.
Valerie Scusa. All right. That's wonderful. Valerie Scusa. Yes, a relatively new member. All right, so that's delightful, and we'll make sure she goes. All right, so because last year the thing didn't actually get used because of the fires and they couldn't go. All right, so let's all just take a deep conscious breath. And breathing in gratitude, recognizing and knowing that as we are breathing this air, that we are breathing in the very life of the living Spirit itself. That we are breathing it and it is breathing us. That we are allowing ourselves in this moment to experience a shifted consciousness, a deepening of our relationship with the divine. That this relationship is making itself known at the deepest aspects of our own heart and calling us into ways of courageous loving with ourself, with our beloved, that our relationships are connected and harmonious, serene, that our work life emanates and demonstrates this harmony and peace and understanding and a drive for excellence and a field of safety to express creatively all that we have to offer. That we know further that this indwelling power and presence is empowering our body temple to the highest levels of expressions of radiant good health. That we are knowing this truth for ourselves as we are knowing it for our loved ones and all of our human family. That we know that we are experiencing the sweet spot of life as vitality and with a sense of vim and vigor and a spring in our step as we go about our business of living, for we recognize and know that we are the living expressions and emanations of the divine itself. So we step confidently and joyously into this divine mandate, knowing that it is done. So we just release it unto its divine unfoldment, knowing that it is the Spirit that does the work. We release it, we let it go, we let it be so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all very much. And that concludes the meeting. Nice job.
Me too.
Yes, the potluck is potlucking on the other side. But don't be breathing on each other now.